All right. It is Fright Night with Ferocious Fee. Hello. I just have Fuzzy with me tonight. We have several people that are uh out doing stuff. Um, Cypher's still on vacation, and Matt's at a concert. So yeah, everybody's kind of enjoying the opening of summer. But what have you been doing, Fuzzy?
Not much. We just got back from Ohio to do some filming, and I'm pretty sure you'll get more into it. But I went from just being a tag along to being a vampire victim, so that was a interesting change to the script. But yeah, had fun doing that. Also got to play some video games. I know you don't like me talking about video games and whatnot, but got to do a little bit of that. Got the Switch 2 at launch. Haven't really played with the Quest 3 in a bit. Still do the bowling on that, like probably like every other day and stuff. But still playing a lot of Forza Horizon, and I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, Sifu on my Steam Deck. So bouncing around between different devices, playing a bunch of different games. But all in all, having fun and having fun being a murder victim, I guess, or a vampire victim. So we're looking forward to when that releases and seeing how it looks. But the film crew looked like they were top notch, like A24 level. So some of the screenshots and things were pretty awesome. So definitely looking forward to that.
Yes, so we got to meet some new people. Um, so you never tag along. Remember, you're my chauffeur, you're my
Uh-huh.
bodyguard,
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
personal assistant.
Oh, really? I see.
Anyway, um, so yeah, we got to we were doing What's Wrong, Wendy, and just a couple nights and everything. You know, other reasons why I, decided to go up there was not just that, but we're just going to talk about that though. So, what's wrong, Wendy is a vampire movie, and just to throw out some names here because um we got to meet some people that have been in the indie film community for a very long time. So, Dusty Austin. Um, so that was the director.
Hmm.
Awesome. Just 20 years experience. And
She definitely had a awesome personality as far as working with a lot of the talent. Like she could definitely get the best out of the crew. Like everything. It wasn't as much about like critiques in the negative sense. It was all everything was positive, and when you did things that stood out that she wanted to see more of as far as on film or for like another take, she would definitely encourage that or point that stuff out so that way you kind of knew the direction of where you to go and what to do and stuff like that, on top of what you may have practiced as far as lines and positions and stuff. So awesome flow of how things were filmed and run. Like it, I'm not knocking any of the other film sets that we've been on, but this was
mhm,
probably one of the better ones as far as communication and just overall,
organization.
yeah, organization and everything.
Mhm. So, if you're not familiar with this individual, then Krampus, the Christmas Devil, one of them. Assistant art director, costume designer for that one. Hell House LLC 2,
Mm,
the Abaddon Hotel. Uh, Played David Morris, I believe. I believe that was an acting role.
mm.
So let me see what else. it needs eyes, visual effects artists. So a lot of horror films and Grindhouse Massacre, director of that one, Curse of the Wolf, a lot of roles in that one, assistant director, I believe played security guard, sound effects coordinator, editor. Okay, so a lot of experience. Like I said, 20 years. Um, but yeah, just a very awesome individual that wants to challenge you to get the best out of you, which I really,
Mhm.
really appreciated that because I have a lot of anxiety about being on film. I like to be on film sometimes, but playing like different roles, like I would love doing another zombie. I like doing the vampire. I like those kind of roles, but I do have anxiety about seeing myself. Um, so and then kind of getting feedback, especially when other people are getting feedback and I'm not getting feedback yet. That is a little anxiety there. But Dusty was great. So in helping reassure me that I was doing a good job and that I was getting, that I was giving what they wanted. So another so shout out to Spooky Madison. I mean, she's the one who put this pretty much all together. She was the writer of this, of course, the producer of this, and she also plays Wendy. So she was also awesome on this. Um, when Dusty when I wasn't understanding Dusty, she was right there helping me with, coordinating the scene where, I mean, all the vampires gotta go. Um,
Mhm.
so she was there trying to help get me to figure out what they wanted. So she was, you know, very understanding. She used different words because I don't know if anybody knows this about me per se. I know Fuzzy does. I don't know if anybody else knows, but I have an auditory processing delay as well. So, and if anybody has that, because there's a lot of us apparently that have that, um, I don't always hear things, and it's sometimes very hard to understand people sometimes. So when they say things in different ways, it actually helps me. Just repeating what you said doesn't help because I'm not getting the words any way you look at it.
Mhm.
So having the writer on set all the time, that is a big part of it, and working with the director in tandem in just 100% collaboration with everybody, that actually helps
Mhm.
because this way, if I'm not understanding somebody's words, then I have somebody else that can rephrase it in a different way to help me. So that was really, really nice. And I don't have to keep on telling everybody I have a processing delay or I have this or I have that. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
Yeah.
it was a very comfortable set. Um, and pushing you without making you feel bad. So that was really great. That's why I think we feel it was the better of the sets that we've been on so far. Um, and everything. So, the other person that we met was Cody Newton. Now, Cody um, did not know this, but he's a director as well. But he was the cinematographer on that one. He's also done acting stuff. But we got to see some of the shots from his 259 film. So if you're able to check that out, where did he say that he had that? Was it on YouTube?
I believe it is on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's literally 2:59, as if you were seeing a digital clock. That's how the title is. I
Mhm.
would check that out. It looked really good. But he's the guy that's the cinematographer for Black Sheep that's going to be coming out, which is a horror movie. And it's not to be confused with the other Black Sheep that is actually about sheep that become, zombies and everything like that. It's
Mhm.
not that one. This one hasn't been made yet. um, I believe it's right now it's in pre-production.
Mhm.
Let me see what else he's done that we might be familiar. Death of Snow White. He's a camera operator, cinematographer, and producer for that one. He did a short, The Rabbit.
Mhm.
Um, Let me see what else. He has a lot.
Yeah.
So I would go onto his IMDb because I'm sure if if it hasn't been something that I've seen, I'm sure other fans have seen it. But he did Friday the 13th, Vengeance 2, Bloodlines.
Mhm.
I'm just in 2022, by the way. I'm just in 2022, guys. That's he actually he did Battery, the short. I believe this is the same one. Yeah, this is okay. So there was a longer movie based on this. It was called The Battery by a couple of guys that did this, and I think the short was based off of that. So you might want to check that one out.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
yeah, like I said, I'm
his
just
camera
in.
work is all well, like, if you look at the camera work on it, I probably should have asked him what cameras he was using and stuff
Mhm,
for future stuff that we're looking to do, but it's like top-notch stuff, like the atmosphere, the lighting, the
mhm,
multiple angles, the close-ups, all of the key stuff that you would expect for horror films, and focusing on the characters or the eerie moments. Yeah, he's got that eye for that, so definitely
yeah.
worth checking out some of his projects. And I think he said this is one of 3 projects he's working on this year, and he's
Mhm,
got, like, another 3 for
mhm.
next year kinda thing, so
Yeah.
he's
He
pretty busy.
yeah, like he's done 122 titles.
Yeah.
122. And he's been doing this since 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. 2009. Cuz he was on the he did the Adventures of Ninja Cowboy.
Mm.
That sounds interesting. But anyway, so we got to meet him.
Mhm.
So, yeah, there were tons of people that I've heard about before that we got to meet, and it was just really fun. And these people are worth the time to spend with them. They really are. It was just a really great opportunity, and we met some other people as well. So we met a couple of the other guys that were vampires.
Mhm.
Uh, they also did the Indiegogo as well, and then there were some young faces. So yeah, and the makeup artists, they were just awesome.
Yeah.
So
Being
there
able to
was a
craft teeth from basically, what was it? Not clay, but like plastic and stuff, and have it look pretty close to realistic, and being able to do all of the makeup and the prosthetics and stuff like that. Yeah, they
yeah.
did an awesome job.
So what had happened was uh, they had purchased teeth for us
Mhm.
as part of it, but somehow, me being the last one, somehow my teeth disappeared. So I don't know if they miscounted by accident or if they had, maybe somebody had one of the main characters had lost their teeth by mistake, and they're like, "Oh no, here's another pair."
Mhm.
Um, because there should have been an extra pair anyway because one of the guys didn't show up. One of the vampire guys. He didn't show up. Um, so there should have been 2 extra teeth, and there were none. So, Emily, who was one of the makeup artists, um, she crafted, so there's these little pellets. So if you're not familiar with the vampire teeth, there's these little pellets that you mix, and you basically kind of put them in water, in boiling water, in a cup and everything, and they melt, and you're supposed to use that by putting it inside the teeth, and then you just basically are using that plastic or whatever, that polymer or whatever, and it's that's what's adhering to your teeth. At the same time, it's adhering to the inside of the vampire teeth. So the thing is that she crafted me a set out of that plastic, that polymer product, and she's sitting there, standing there in my mouth while we're doing this, and then getting some boiling water and actually putting it on her fingers. I was like, it's like hot, hot. And I'm like thinking, this woman is really doing this. She's burning her fingers to give me some really awesome custom made vampire teeth. I cannot appreciate that enough. So that was really funny. And then Fuzzy, so tell them what happened with you.
Well, I guess there was supposed to be a vampire victim. I don't know if that was the guy that didn't show. He eventually was supposed to become a vampire or something to that effect, but they didn't have anybody to fill that position, and I'm just up there playing on my Steam Deck, kind of just hanging out and stuff. So they're like, "Hey, how do you feel about blood or like fake blood and stuff like that?" Like, as
Wait, wait,
long as I
wait.
don't have
That's
to.
not how it started, though. That's not how it started.
All right, you say how it started then.
So, so how it started was the vampire. There were supposed to be three vampires, right? And then we are
Mhm.
supposed to have a fourth one, and the fourth one is, was totally different setup. But there was supposed to be three vampire thugs, and then a fourth one that was of the original cast. So one of the three thugs didn't show up. I don't know what happened. I'm not gonna speculate or whatever, but he was not there. And I was like, "Oh, well, there's only two of us, and then this other guy is supposed to be a different character or whatever." And then um he's like a different type of vampire or something like that. So I'm like thinking, okay, well, do they need another vampire? So I had asked Spooky, I was like, "Hey, do you need another one?" And she's like, "No." But then she went over to Dusty, and she's like, "Hey," I guess they had a conversation or whatever, and she's like, Dusty came over, is like, "We don't need a vampire, but we need a victim." And that's when, go ahead.
Oh, I basically was volunteered to be
Mhm.
vampire food. And my views up there in the background is like, say yes, volunteer and whatnot. Like, as long as I don't ruin the shirt I have. And I guess one of the guys had like an extra white shirt or something like that that he was
Mhm.
looking to get trashed or whatever because of the fake blood and stuff. So he had like a couple of backups, and so he basically gave me that one. And the makeup artist made it look like I was bruised because basically they had to abduct me. So they put that makeup on. But then for later on in the shoot, they had to rig me up to. I guess you could. It's basically a rig where it'll be like blood seeping out of me from like the
Mhm.
wounds and things like that. No
Mhm.
spray or anything along those lines, but they're like, yeah, we're gonna have to tape these to you, and the vampires are gonna be pawing at you and whatnot, and we're gonna have it where the blood's gonna come through the tubes. And I was like, okay, no big deal. And for everything from like the setup where I'm like the victim in front of them and they're like all yelling and getting ready because of the other elder vampires are like, charging them up before they feast or whatever. And I'm supposed to, be on my knees and looking scared. So I guess I delivered well or believable, actions for that. And then there's a part where they basically tackle me, flip me over, and then that's where all like the blood starts, seeping through the shirt and all. And from a like being a tight shot, it basically looks like I'm dinner. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mind it. It wasn't what I was expecting coming out to this to the filming and stuff. I just thought I was going to
Mm-hmm.
be like an innocent bystander kind of thing, but to eventually be, I guess, listed in the credits as vampire food or something along those lines was pretty cool. But yeah, that rig definitely makes it look believable, but also that thing spewed out a lot of fake blood and it was pooling on the shirt to the point where it was like all over the place. But it was awesome. Based on like some of the screenshots and stuff that the film crew showed, yeah, they got their action shot, which something like that, it's like a one and done kind of deal. So it has to
Mm-hmm.
go right the first time. But yeah, it with the exception of maybe a vampire tooth or two possibly coming out, but they were able to film around that aspect of it. They got the shot in pretty much one take, and then we did some additional and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And I had to be the victim yelling for my life and then like have like that blood curdling yell, but then sound like I'm drowning in blood kind of thing. So yeah, we'll see
So
how it turns out. But
so
yeah,
they
that was
they
fun.
lit yeah, they literally had the camera over his legs to get that shot, and everybody's like, at first they were gonna put the camera over top of where like the legs, the tripod part was actually, he was like in between the tripod part of
Hmm.
it. And they're like, well, wait a minute, we're not gonna be able to actually get the vampires in
Hmm.
by doing that. So they had to, go wider, pull it back a
Hmm.
little bit.
Yeah.
And I still wound up banging my head against the other female vampire.
Mm.
So,
Oh,
and
but
that edible blood was horrible.
well, you were saying it was kind of like chocolate, and everybody else was like kind of like it was like extra sugary syrup kind of stuff. So
Well, it was,
I mean,
I told them that it was extremely sweet. And they're like, "Oh, it doesn't smell that way." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's extremely sweet." And this
mm,
particular one didn't taste like the really intense sugar sweet.
mm,
It tasted a little bit like chocolate, but it was
mm.
still incredibly sweet, and I was the first one to come up and spit that stuff out. I was like, "I couldn't take it."
And then they were like, "Oh, that's awesome!" Because of how it rolls down your face. They were like, "Oh, all of y'all gotta do
I didn't even hear that. I was just so trying to get that stuff out of my mouth.
that." Yeah, but it was definitely fun on set as far as the filming of that. I've never been really, other than like an extra in the background for like a zombie movie.
Mhm.
Was it Queens of the Dead? That's I
Yeah.
think out now or coming out real
June
soon.
7th. Yeah,
And
June
then,
7th. They did the premiere in New York,
mm,
but it's supposed to be, I think, July
mm,
is when they're gonna get in the theaters or something like that.
okay. And then the only other thing was I was in Renaissance Man with Danny DeVito while I was going through basic training. Don't ask me where I was. I don't even know because I'll be honest, when you're in basic training, everybody's head is shaved. We all kind of look the same type of deal. All I remember is we filmed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. where the one guy was talking about his daddy's watch, and we're the guys walking into the chow hall behind that. And man, that was a long day. But it was kind of an off day. The drill sergeants weren't as focused on us and yelling at us. They were more focused on the celebrities, in particular. What's her name? Something Dash. But other than that,
Yeah,
they kind of left
Stacey
us
Dash.
alone. Yeah, so they
Yeah.
kind of left us alone. So that was the good part of the filming. But yeah, that was I wouldn't say a bad experience, but it was a long day, 12 hours. Just all right, formation, walk into the chow hall. All right, do it again. So they had I know that the part where the kid's saying, "My daddy's watch, I lost my daddy's watch." It's like that will be up forever ingrained in my memory, kind of deal. But this
Wow.
filming, this was awesome. Just being
Mhm.
there, and then basically being vampire food, pretty cool.
Yeah.
A bad way to go as far as if you were to die as a character in something, but
Yeah.
still fun and all in all. So yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward
But
to
we
seeing it.
cannot but we cannot forget about Athena.
Oh yeah.
She was the
Well,
set coordinator.
hmm
She's listed as what is it? What was it? Assistant something. Let me see.
hmm
Well, she's listed as associate producer, and she was listed as something else. Oh, production manager. That's what it was.
hmm
Production manager and assistant director. But yeah, she was awesome. That's where most of our communication came from was
hmm
her. And she seemed just very relaxed when a problem came up. She didn't like freak
She didn't
out or
freak
anything
out.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And she's like, "No, no, no, we can do it." And I'm like, cuz we were so Fuzzy was supposed to be in a different part as well. But they kind of ran out of time because we were only there for a couple days. We were willing to stay over for another day, but I guess they need to continue on with other parts of the movie and stuff like that to shoot.
hmm
So it gave us an opportunity to get some extra sleep before we headed back and everything.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to be in a different part, and it was like, okay, well, we didn't know until we got there kind of situation.
hmm
So we had to go out to the Walmart um to get another shirt for Fuzzy because the other one was soaked. It was still wet from the night before.
Yeah,
It was
even
it
letting
was
it hang out, it was still somewhat damp. That's how much that shirt absorbed the fake blood type of deal.
exactly.
But
Exactly.
like the other scene, I don't think it was as necessary because
No.
basically after being vampire food, I would be like a freshly turned, and I would have
Mhm.
probably been like the first one killed in the
Mhm.
vampire battle. So it would have been like
Yeah.
a double death kind of deal. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was still awesome. Like I
Mhm.
said before, everybody from the crew to the rest of the cast, they were awesome to be around, and
Mhm.
so welcoming. So it was a pretty cool experience. I
Mhm.
highly recommend like any of those staff members on future films. If you're on signing up for like the Indiegogo stuff for any of their films, I
Mhm.
definitely recommend that would be the crew to contribute to and be a part of if you can. So
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, we still have Crimson Harvest
mhm,
that we're going to go back to doing and everything, and then we also have uh Along Came a Rainbow. We're going to do something in that um and everything, but this one so far it was the most relaxed. It felt very professional
mhm,
as well and stuff. So yeah. Um we also have our movie. I'm still trying to um get my principal to have a meeting with me so I can actually do the short in my
mhm,
classroom so I don't
mhm.
have to rent some space somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I could find something locally here in Pennsylvania, but you know, there is a benefit for me to use my students um, that I work with all the time because it gives them an opportunity to work towards something
Mhm,
that they think is fun to do and everything. And then we have the big movie to do
Well, we got to do
with,
the proof of concept filming first
yeah,
and stuff. So
for next
next
summer.
summer, yeah,
Anybody want to be a police officer
or a store clerk.
or a store clerk?
But we'll probably give more details on that as we get closer, like
Yep.
probably within like a 6 to 8 months out type of thing. So
Yeah. So think about it. Um, but yeah, that one's gonna be fun because that's gonna be, you know, a cult slasher movie. So
yeah.
that should be fun. I'm sure people will like to be part of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we decided we were gonna do the menu
Hmm.
because Fuzzy's like, did we even pick a movie? It was like Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's like Tuesday. We're in a hotel room and we're trying to figure out, you know, what's going on, like when we're going back, like how much
Hmm.
sleep are we gonna get and
Yeah.
everything. And he's like, did we even pick a movie? I
Yeah.
was like,
Because I knew
no.
Cypher was on vacation still, and
Hmm.
you know, Presto had uh, an event that he was going to attend that weekend. So it was like, okay, well, if it's just going to be the two of us, I left it up to you to pick at that point because
Hmm.
I'd probably pick something more. I would say more semi-serious, but I figured your pick this go around should be good.
Look at Dreadpool's comment. He wants to be a police officer.
Okay.
All right. So we got one. All right. So the reason why I picked the menu, I had seen it before. I really liked it. I thought it was unique. Um Unique approach to kind of like a thriller slash horror movie. Um I think it's more horror than thriller, but it does have a little bit of mystery to it. But it's been out
Mhm.
for a while. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that have already seen it. And even watching it a second time, um, it didn't really the parts that were kind of the build up that were kind of like the twists and everything like that. I don't really think, in my opinion, that it kind of mattered that I knew that they were coming.
Mhm.
Because the events that were occurring were 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 worth another view. So there were things that I had kind of little details that I had kind of missed. Um and kind of like realizations like, oh well, wait a minute. I didn't catch that last time. So what did you think about it? What was your first impression?
My first impression was this is going to be weird, considering it's a thriller in a private restaurant setting, and then the fact that they had to go to like a private island to get to it. I'm like, are they going to actually serve somebody as the main course kind of thing? Like I
So
was just I that was like a
let me stop
preconceived
you
notion.
here though. Let me stop you here because this happens all the time whenever we're watching a movie. It doesn't matter if I've seen the movie before or not. He will ask me a ton of questions
Mhm.
as guesses, as if I miraculously know what's going to happen.
Well, especially on one you've already seen, I figure like
I'm
because if
not going
this
to
is going
tell
to
you
be
though.
one of those things where I'm already predicting they're going to serve somebody, and you're like, just watch the movie. And I'm like, they better not chop up one of these people and be like, "Hey, here's your dinner," because I don't want to see that. That would be like, I mean, that would be awesome for horror, but I wasn't kind of in the mood for, "Hey, where'd Bill go? Oh, Bill, how about these finger foods of Bill?" kind of thing. Like uh, that would have been wild, but that was not what I was hoping this would be, and I'm kind of glad they didn't go that route. But first impression was this is going to be strange because somebody's going to go into the meat grinder, or at least that was my assumption. And this is hopefully not too gross, but gross enough type of deal. But yeah, that's kind of where I thought it was. And as things played out, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I would take that trip to that island. Like, yeah, you got to be rich or know somebody that knows somebody. But even if I was in that lane, let's say, yeah, no, 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 thank you. I want my food and my dinner to be more than just art and a theme. I want to at least you know cure the hunger, I guess you could say, as opposed to these artsy fartsy. Oh, we're going to give you everything but bread kind of deal. But we'll get more into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Okay. So, my first impression of this movie, at first, I didn't know where it was going when I originally watched it. But as I watched it, I was like, so this guy had a plan, and it wasn't just his plan. And he even told his plan, and people still showed up.
Mhm.
I'm like, what does that say about the human condition? The priorities that we have. That was astounding to have that kind of, oh, this is what our priorities are, kind of thing. So yeah, I found it interesting. Um I know where they were going with it, as far as the ending and stuff like that. I don't know if it was the best ending. I don't know if they had put all the pieces together for everybody to get the overall, ending of why, let's do spoilers now,
Mhm.
why they let her go and not everybody else. Um but yeah, I I don't think this was 100% perfect, but as a horror movie, it was well thought out. I will
Yeah.
give it that. It's very well thought out.
Oh yeah.
So let's go to your, kind of teaser. Might
well,
as well. Might as well.
I think the big thing is you get well. There's people lined up. What was it, like 12.5 for a plate or something?
Yeah.
So extra ridiculous amount. And the reason why I say you wouldn't catch me here. I've been to dinners where they've had plates like that pricey, or drinks or shots that were in that ballpark. Not on my dime, obviously, but the company I work for and some of our suppliers were up there for a 200 $300 million company. You sometimes got treated to some stuff like that, and even then it's like, oh, this is great, but yeah, I mean, the biggest benefit would have been Fargois, which I know Fee is totally
Mhm.
against because of where it comes from, but that stuff is delicious. I don't care what you say. If you haven't tried it, give it a try. But um, like just going to an island where the staff lives on the island, and the chef is, his restaurant is there, and he's just this highly regarded chef and everything. I don't know. I guess we should have seen the writing on the wall from the get go on the types of clientele that would go there, type of deal. But yeah, they get there, and it's more about the artistry as opposed to the meal. The chef doesn't want you to eat; he wants you to take in I guess, the um, environment, or the atmosphere. I mean, he
Mhm.
still wants you to eat, but like not eat to satisfy hunger, but eat as in absorb the moment,
Mhm.
kind of thing. And
Yeah.
at first, it's like, oh, okay, that that's fine, but then things get a little weird, and I think the thing that kind of flares, you know, the people's attention is when they get the tortilla chips and or not the tortilla, but like
Mhm.
the tortillas have like a laser etched print of some really deep dark secrets of each of the
Mhm.
individuals, with the exception of Margot. But I think it's mainly because Margot was not the original listed guest. There was a cancellation and she was like a substitute. But we won't get into her background just yet. But all these other people are more of the takers than the givers. So
Mhm.
seeing, incriminating documents or incriminating transfers or incriminating photos with
Mhm.
non-spouses and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I guess that set off an alarm for some of the people. The restaurant critic got pictures of restaurants that her critiques have closed those restaurants. So it
Mhm.
was like, you know,
Mhm.
yeah, you may have made this chef's career on your original review, but you've ruined so many others out there that were worthy of at least being able to function. And because they didn't, I guess, bow down to her or cater to her,
Mhm.
they, got the bad side of the pen with the review. So, but
Yeah.
that's when things kind of, I wouldn't say break down, but it's like the three, I guess you could say, capitalists or business guys. They were the funniest ones because it's like, come on, we know the guy that really owns this restaurant, like the financier
Mhm.
behind it. So get us some bread. Like, and she's like, no, like, look, we know that guy, and nobody else has to know. Just slip us some
Mm.
bread. And she's still like, no. And it's like they didn't know how to handle no, because I guess they're not used to that. Like they're used to getting their way kind of deal. And looking at the incriminating photos of illegal charges or transfers and money laundering
Yeah.
they were doing, it's like, what is this, where did you get this all from? And it's like they she basically had to tell them, sit down, shut up, and this is part of uh, your I guess, how should I put it, basically part of your serving per se. It's like you're getting your just desserts kind of thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely weird. But the weirdest character of them all still has to be Tyler. I mean, the chef's mom sitting up there,
Mhm.
drinking bottle after bottle or glass after glass of
Mhm.
wine. That was pretty
Mhm.
funny. Um, Tyler, like it's he was like more of like the super fan that wish he could be like that, and we see how he winds up later, which we'll get into. But
So
it
so
was just
let's talk about Tyler though. So
mhm,
Tyler is the reason why Margot is there.
mhm,
So Tyler is explaining things to her and he's getting upset with her because she's smoking. And he's like, "How can you smoke? You're killing your palate." Like he's not concerned with her health. He's concerned with, her ability to experience what he thinks is the greatest experience in the world. And he's taking lots of pictures. We all know when we go and we're super fans, we want to take as many pictures as we possibly can of everything that's going on, especially if we go over to another place that it might be the only time we ever do this, right? Or
mhm,
the only time we're ever able to meet somebody. So i- he is, I think, beyond just super fan. I think he's obsessed.
yeah. I mean, as far as him being obsessed, it's to the point where we get to the point where the chef kind of invites him into the kitchen, and it's
Mhm.
like it could have gone a good bit better, seeing as how he knows a lot about the process, although he may not be
Mhm.
talented enough for the process, but he
Mhm.
knows enough of the process. He should have
Mhm.
been able to do something. And I have to give kudos to them for having like a breakdown for each meal
Yeah.
and each serving. And when something comes
Mhm.
up, it'll give you like a brief description. And
Mhm.
for Tyler's meal, it was Tyler's bullshit. It was like
Yeah.
badly made lamb with some chopped up vegetables that can contradict with the meal
Yeah.
and whatnot. So they basically embarrassed him, and I
Mhm.
guess that was enough for him to kind of, take it seriously and something. But it was just it was funny how it's like, oh yeah, and he's like nervous chopping the stuff up
Mhm.
and whatnot, and it's like you would hope you would at least perform a little bit better if you're like a super fan of a chef. You should be able to like start with something simple. Like I don't I'm not the greatest cook. I can bake, but
Mm.
I'm not the greatest cook otherwise. But I would have started off with something simple like eggs, maybe. You can't really
Mhm.
screw up eggs any way you make them. So you probably should start off with that and then added like some sort of, nice complimentary taste to it, kind of thing. But no, he went with the lamb and the sprouts and something else that he put together and made Tyler's bullshit. So yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
So that was his punishment for his sin.
Hmm.
And everybody except for Margot has a sin, including the chef, right?
Hmm.
But the thing about it is that Tyler's sin is pretty significant, and you know, he winds up getting his punishment.
Yeah.
And the chef says something into his ear that pushes him over the edge.
Hmm.
Um but in essence, Tyler's sin was not necessarily bringing Margot. His sin was knowing. It was his obsession. It was knowing the whole entire plan. The chef told him the whole entire plan. He didn't tell anybody else the whole entire plan, but he told Tyler the whole entire plan, and Tyler showed up knowing the plan
It's like,
because
all
he
right, I'm
was
gonna kill everybody at the dinner and
uh-huh.
and their dates that they bring along with them. Can I count
Yes,
on you to be there? Yes, I'll be there. It's like, wait, what? Like
exactly.
that should have been your out. Tyler should have been like, wait, what? Like, I'm a fan of your work,
Exactly.
but I don't think I can do this. Then yeah, he would have probably survived. But
He was so obsessed with going
mhm.
that he didn't care. And then he brought somebody and didn't even tell him.
Well, the original person he was going to bring wound up canceling. So kudos to
No,
them. They
no,
must
no.
have had
Broke up with him.
broke up because she probably knew
Broke
he
up with
was
him.
crazy to begin with. Like, why are you so obsessed with this chef? Like, I can totally see it. Like, she'll be in a nightgown and he's still talking
Mhm.
about, man, this chef makes an awesome omelet. Like, wait, what? What are you talking about? So yeah, he was a strange one. But then
Like
you had
I
that
I
other older couple. They've been there like 11 times. Like I get
yeah.
it. It's a privileged thing to go to it,
Mhm.
but how do you not remember? Like I pretty much order the same thing. Like if I go to a restaurant, like let's just say whether it's Longhorn or Season 52, which is like their next step up kind of thing, or what's the other ones that we've gone to, like Dilworth Town.
Yeah.
Um, what was the more
Flemings?
expensive? What was the more expensive steakhouse place?
Flemings?
Well, Fleming's, and then there's another one, Ruth
I can't
Chris or
remember the
something
other one.
like that. Like,
That's one you've been to.
well, that was probably over while going to Vegas or whatever. But
Mhm.
those places, I'm gonna probably order the same thing, but I'm gonna know what I ordered, kind of thing. Or
Yeah.
if the chef is giving me or already predetermining the menu, I'm probably going to remember at least one of the meals being memorable enough to know what the heck I ate. Oh, it
And
was lobster with horseshoe crab or something. Yeah, I think I might remember that type of thing.
yeah, and the chef even said, "Hey, can you remember anything? Just one thing, one course." He didn't even ask for one time. He asked for one course.
Hmm.
And there were freaking like 6 or 7 courses per meal.
Hmm.
Couldn't remember a dessert.
The wife was like, "Cod." It was halibut. So yeah, I can't imagine just being like, "Oh yeah, I went to this exclusive restaurant and I have no idea what the heck I put in my belly." Like that,
Oh,
that boggles my mind. Like I get it, you trust the chef, he's well renowned and whatnot, but I'm going to ask, hey, what kind of oysters were those? Just checking, making sure they're not mountain oysters. If anybody
yeah.
knows what the heck that is, kind of thing. Like, yeah, I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to at least remember whatever would have been my most favorite meal that he's made for me,
Mhm.
kind of thing. But but hey,
Yeah, but
that was their. I wouldn't say that was their sin, but his that guy's sin, I think, was more so that he brought Margot there at another
no.
time,
Mm-mm,
or brought
mm-mm.
somebody like Margot there. I think that was the guy that eventually lost his finger.
Oh, no, no, no. That no, you didn't catch what his sin was, did you?
What, just gluttony and not knowing what?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So, even though we have Tyler, and I
Mhm,
think he had the biggest sin, Tyler, knowing full well that he was bringing somebody to their death, I think that's pretty bad.
mhm,
Um, but the older gentleman's sin. So the chef during this time is constantly directly interacting with Margot in reference to one, why are you here?
mhm,
Like, you shouldn't be here. You are the anomaly in my plan, and I don't like it.
mhm,
Basically, the first introduction. The second introduction is asking her, if you're one of us, why are you with him? Why are you with this wealthy? Because they're not us. We are
mhm.
the servants, we are the whores, we are the
Givers.
unseen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are the unseen. Um to these individuals, but yet they rely on us kind of thing.
Mhm,
She's one of them. I mean, we all know she's a prostitute, but
mhm.
she's one of them. And he sees that in her, and he's like, you have to choose. That's the second interaction. You have to choose.
Right.
Are you with us or are you with them? And you know her, she's like, I am with me.
Mhm,
That's it. Because if I pick a side, I'm gonna die. Because he did say that it doesn't matter which side you pick, really.
yeah.
You're still gonna die, but I prefer
Mhm,
you be on my side to help
yeah.
me, basically. Um, and that has consequences for her. Either side is gonna have consequences for her and
Mhm.
everything. But she tells what his sin was in that second conversation.
Yeah, that's what I
That
said. She was with him, maybe not at that restaurant, but I
but that
said he
that
was.
wasn't his sin though. His sin was what he asked her to do.
Oh, what? So it
Yeah.
doesn't count that it was infidelity. It was just a matter of.
No. It was the fact that she was asked to be a replacement for his daughter.
Mhm.
That was his sin.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that's pretty disgusting,
Yeah.
but I still think Tyler takes the cake though.
Mhm.
I think he wins the prize. And I think that's why he got, instead of getting his finger chopped off, because he did the ring finger.
Yeah, for
His,
the
his
older guy, he got his ring
yeah,
finger, but like
yeah,
even with the chef, because of his sin, he got stabbed in a certain area because of his
yes,
harassment of one of the staff members and stuff. So,
yes, yes.
and that
But
lady was a little on edge, or I wouldn't say crazy, but she was definitely on edge.
yes, yeah, definitely, definitely. So the chefs, sous chefs, his his you know uh his cooks and everything like that were in on the plan. So
Hmm.
it's they were 100% dedicated to him. So was the hostess.
Hmm.
Um, so were the servers and maitre d's and all that other stuff, right? But the one that Fuzzy is talking about is the one that was essentially being sexually harassed by the chef.
Hmm.
And very open. She gets her center stage because it's her dish that is being made and everything like that. But only the women get to enjoy it.
Mm. What kind of nuts were they again?
I can't remember. But
It wasn't peanuts. It was some sort of
no,
nut or something.
yeah. And while the women are eating this and enjoying their wine,
Hmm.
all of the guys are running around trying to escape.
Hmm.
We're gonna give you a 45-second start. Well, one of the guys in the group of fraternity bros um decides that he's not gonna just wait and till the 45 seconds starts.
Yeah.
As soon as he says you're gonna get a head start, he's out.
Hmm.
He's like, see you. He even gets on the boat, on the
Hmm.
little rowboat, as far as he got. But
Yeah. Well, I like the fact that, like you said, he didn't even wait. The other guys are lagging behind.
mhm,
The missing ring finger guy is kind of like limping around,
mhm,
and Tyler's still standing around. Like,
yeah.
this includes you. You gotta go. And then the
You
other guy
gotta
that was
go.
with the critic just went and hid or hid in the chicken coop. And because
Mhm,
he was I think it was because he was the last one caught, because he
mhm,
basically didn't run. He just ran and hid or hid.
mhm.
He got a
Yeah.
special meal out of it or something, or some sort of
Yeah, like
dessert
it's
for
dessert or something.
me. On the other hand, I don't know. Like, I think who was it that said in the chat? Roshan Emperor was saying,
Mhm,
like, why didn't they, fight more, or scared to act kind of thing. Like, I already said, like, I would have probably grabbed my knife and fork and started stabbing fools instead of running. It's like, you, yeah, if I'm going down, we're all going down, and that would be mainly the cooking staff, or just take out the chef. Like, I'm
mhm.
the king now. Thing. I mean, because if you already know you're going to die, you might as well take some people with you instead of being like scared to act. I think the fight or flight, you're on an island, so there isn't really much flight to it. So it's
Mhm,
going to be fight, and it's going to get ugly. And about the best thing to do would be like, all right, we all team up, all of us. I guess the takers of the world. We got to team up and take them out. But I told you, I'd be like, you know what? I'm not carrying you. I'm just I'm gonna put you on a chair and I'm gonna drag the chair with you on it after we get off of there. It's like, no, 45 seconds. How about 45 seconds of me stabbing your folks? Like, that would have been me, just for the fact that I wouldn't. I don't think I would be able to stand as much of a chance trying to run, not
mhm.
knowing what weaponry they may have. I might as well just take my chances with my fork and knife from my plate from earlier, kind of thing, or whatever other things I can pick up as weaponry or something. But
I
yeah,
can
that.
imagine you being in the bushes with your fork and knife, hiding there, waiting for somebody to come by, and
Hmm.
then sneaking up on them. That's
Yeah,
what I could see.
basically. Although I think I would have swiped at the chef before going into the bushes, kind of thing. Because if he's gone, maybe they all like lose their enthusiasm to kill us all. Or maybe they
Maybe.
just focus all their enthusiasm on me. I don't know. But I think it'd be a better chance to take him out first because he seems to be the
Yeah.
head of it. So chop off the head of the snake, you know. But that's just me.
Oh, yeah. But so we get to this point where everybody knows that it's everybody's checked out. Everybody has decided this is a good plan to go with, and they're gonna kill these people. So before they let them run, of course, the defining moment to start actually freaking people out was the mess.
Mm-hmm.
So the mess was basically this one cook. They're putting a mat down. Whenever you put plastic down for somebody, you know it ain't gonna be good. But
Yeah.
there's still, I guess, wealthy people don't understand this. Um,
Hey, OJ knew that you put
well,
plastic
yeah,
down,
well,
so
OJ knew it. But when you start putting plastic down, so the chef is going on about how this guy is dedicated, puts himself in the position, went and begged for this opportunity, but he's never going to be as talented. It's like the chef was this kid's dad,
mm-hmm.
talking about how I'm so great, but I had a stupid son. My son can never be me, even though he wants to.
mm-hmm.
Like, come on now.
Yeah, that was kind of weird, and it's like I can't imagine the staff being that dedicated. But then again, this was a cult. Let's just call it
Yeah,
what it is. This was a
yeah.
cooking cult to some
Hmm.
extent. So yeah, the rest of the staff should have been like, "Wait, what? I don't want to be
They,
you. I just want to work for you and do these cool meals and stuff." But no, this guy is never going to be the chef or the head chef.
mhm,
Never going to be as good, and
mhm.
he pretty much takes a gun to the mouth kind of thing. So yeah,
Yeah. And then they get served the dish. And the critic is still going on. Oh no, this is just the show. This
yeah,
has got to be
that
the
was a
show.
squib. They used the squib. It's not real blood. Come on, this is part of the whole entertainment. Right. Like, mm-mm. I would have known from the plastic. I would have been like, if my table was close to that plastic, I think I would have been like, I'm going to the bathroom and figuring out a way to get out the window or something because plastic on the floor is usually never a good sign. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say a character can't know that they're in a horror movie until the horror
Mhm.
begins, kind of thing. But any
Yeah.
anybody see somebody putting plastic on the floor, start stepping away, start backing up, get out
Yeah.
of the vicinity because that plastic might be for you. So it is,
Exactly.
it is what it is.
And we've seen that in movies before. We've seen where it's like, um, I believe it wasn't it in Lethal Weapon, one of the Lethal Weapons, where the the guy is like checking the floor to see if there's any plastic down.
I'm trying to remember if they had it in Goodfellas. I kind of want to. I kind of think it was like, but then again, it was the mob, so they don't really care about having plastic on the
Well,
floor.
yeah,
So he was like, "Oh, you're a made man." Haha, psych.
yeah.
So
No, but I remember it was in one of the Lethal Weapons where the guy's looking down the floor and the the boss he's like what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm just checking to see if there's plastic on the floor.
yeah, that's like the telltale sign that somebody's looking to off you kind of deal.
It, yeah, exactly. So we have this poor dead guy on the floor, and of course they, you know, take the matting and they, wrap him up with it and they take him away and stuff. And then they go on with, describing the meal, the mess. and everything. But that should have been the divining moment where everybody freaked out
Mhm.
and they were still trying to keep the illusion.
I don't know. I think Lake Ozamu's character, being the actor of the group and stuff, he should have known that that wasn't a squib. And well, his assistant was there. He should have just faked.
Mhm.
Like, I think I hear my agent calling me, and
Uh-huh.
firmly walked out the door or something along those lines. Because yeah, dead guy on the floor, and now we're eating the meal that he made us. It's like, wait, what? First of all, I don't want dead guy meal. Second of all, well, no. First of all, why is there a dead guy on the middle of the floor when we're trying to eat? I can't eat with dead people on the floor. I'm not what is the coroner or medical examiner.
Yeah.
I'm not eating the sandwich with dead guy with bullet hole to the back of the head or from his mouth to the back of his head.
See, I could
That's
do that.
I probably could do it as well, but I wouldn't want to. Like if there's a gun and I'm not the one holding the gun and that person just blew their brains out, yeah, no, I'm out. I'm not waiting to see who else is going to be the next one to get their brains blown out. I'm getting the heck up out of there. But yeah, I'm if I have a choice of eating a meal with a dead guy in the room or not eating a meal with a dead guy in the room, I'm not going to eat the meal. I'm just going to get out of the room and maybe take my meal with me so I can eat it somewhere else. But yeah, I'm not staying there. No, no, I don't have to. I'm going.
No, I could probably do it.
Hmm. So the guy just blows his brain. The waiter blows his brains out, and you're like, "Oh, this salmon salad is awesome. I
Yeah,
wonder
I
if we can
probably
get some
would.
more. I wonder if we can get these croutons taken out of this salad kind of thing. Like instead of focusing on a dead guy that's dripping on the floor or whatever or on the plastic. No, you're gonna
Yeah,
finish your
no,
meal.
yeah, no
Mm-mm.
croutons in my salad. Nope,
Yeah,
nope.
no, no. I already got
Mm-mm.
the car remote started and I'm out. Well, then again, I'm on an island, so there is no remote starting the car. But hey, I may not be able to swim all that well, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to swim back to shore. I'm gonna figure out a way. Mm-mm. There's a dead guy in my soup. I'm out.
You got a little brain in your soup.
Yeah, yeah, I'm out. I can't. No, no, thank you.
So yeah, each one of these groups had a sin. Um, and the thing about each one was some of them weren't even all that significant, but they were significant to the chef
Hmm.
because the chef had to interact with these people, and I am dealing with these people that are just starting to ignore the whole purpose of what I'm doing. And that's to get them to enjoy and experience this ambiance and this food that I've created that I've spent my entire pretty much almost his entire life
Hmm.
doing. And I get it, but I don't know if I go on a murderous rampage
I
to
don't
do
know.
this.
Whatever set him off. I mean, there were so many other ways to go about doing it. I mean, it's great that it's a private island, so that kind of gives you a little bit more freedom or a little bit more elbow room to do something like that. But I'm kind of surprised he didn't just like poison a bunch of food and go from there. But I guess that would still like he wouldn't have his escape plan or his out as far as taking himself out and possibly his staff. But I don't know. Like I think if your life's work becomes a burden to that point and you
Mhm.
snap, who knows what people do? Like they always talk about people going postal after years of working within the postal
Yeah.
service. Certain things can send people over the edge, but I don't know if I'd go the route he went. Like I said,
Mhm.
in his shoes, maybe poisoning would be the easier approach. But then again, unless you poison yourself, you're going to have to stand trial, and that's just going to be a
Mhm.
spectacle. And I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean, there's also the whole point of, I spent my entire life doing this,
mhm.
and I've snapped, and I'm killing people, and if I live, I'm gonna wind up in a jail doing what? Being a cook
Hey, maybe he'll find more enjoyment cooking for the inmates than some of the world's
on
richest
a
people.
on a
turn slop into
$500.
Hey, turn slop into gourmet. Hey.
Well, yeah, but you do realize that, because I used to be a correction officer.
Hmm.
You do realize that when they say a $500 budget, that ain't for a month,
Mm.
and that ain't for a day.
Hey, it is what it is. 500, and how many Chef Boyardee cans can you buy? Put some paprika in that. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe you can.
paprika fixes everything, right?
I guess. I mean, hey, $500 budget, it better at that point. Otherwise, you might have a riot at the prison over the food. But
Okay, so that reminds me of something. Okay, so we have this mindlessness, this I don't know what's going on with some people, but I saw on Instagram, and
mhm,
it's going around, so I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. This woman has table salt in the big container, right?
mhm.
And she is explaining how to make the salt tastier to make
Huh?
it better, right? So she takes this little glass bowl,
Mhm,
kind of like the ones that we use to kind of like separate stuff, like the
mhm,
butter and everything like that while we're cooking. She takes that little dish and she pours the salt in there. And it's just regular table salt, but it's in the big container. It's like in the Morton blue container, right?
mhm.
And then she says salt. She doesn't say table salt, she just says salt. She's like, okay, so I'm gonna put this and I'm gonna eyeball it, and I'm not gonna physically, I'm gonna mentally eyeball it. Like, there's a difference. Um, but you put the salt in here and just eyeball it. I'm like, okay. And this is where either she's joking or she's this dumb. She's like, then you take your table salt, which is in a little shaker. You take your table salt and you sprinkle it in to the salt.
Hmm? You lost me already. Like,
She's got salt
yeah, in a
from
bowl, and she's taking the shaker and shaking more salt into the salt.
yes, but she thinks it's a different type of salt.
Oh, like why bring sand to a beach kind of? I don't know. I thought you were going to talk about the lady that's going viral about the paid every week instead of every 2 weeks or something.
No,
Like,
no, 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 no. We won't get into
I
that one.
I stopped looking at stuff on social media at times because it's like it hurts my brain. Like I feel like I'm in a Billy Madison movie. I think it was Billy Madison, where it's like at no
Uh-uh.
time did you say anything in your incoherent ramblings.
Uh-huh.
You get 0 points rewarded, and may God have mercy on your soul, kind of thing. Like half the stuff on social media these days. I know there's a few people in the audience right now that see the stuff about gaming. It's like that's not a real Xbox. Well, it has Xbox written on it, and it can play Xbox PC games. And a lot of the games that are on console are dual entitlements, so you can play them on your console or a handheld. But I don't know. People, I think nowadays like to either argue for no reason just to argue, or it's like they're 0 days old when they find something out or they think they found something out, like the trick about
Mhm.
I guess this lady with the salt. Yeah, sprinkle
Yeah.
the shaker salt into the Morton salt that goes in the shaker normally, but you put it in a bowl and you, yeah, that no,
But
no.
she's saying it's two different salts, and we're like, it's not two different salts.
Well,
It's the same salt.
maybe she didn't know where the salt that goes in the shaker comes from. Maybe it's always been there. Or maybe she
Maybe.
bought the salt shaker or took the salt shaker from a restaurant and it already had the salt in it. I don't know. I don't know. I I,
I just
I don't even try anymore. Like I you know,
I just honestly wonder sometimes about the students that I teach.
we're old. That's what it is. We might as well just get used to yelling at clouds and people on our grass lawn and move on. I'm not saying the younger generation's a lost cause because there's plenty of bright minds within them, but then there's some that I don't know. I don't know. So
No, I
it
mean,
is what it is.
I totally get it. I totally get it. I just, just it kind of bewilders me. And it's the same with this movie in reference to Tyler,
Hmm.
in reference to all of these people that are watching this man shoot himself, watching this individual cut, you know, basically butcher
Hmm.
the ring finger off of this, older gentleman. And it's like nobody's doing anything.
I mean,
Nobody's intervening.
I could make an assumption, but it would be a very bad assumption. Like people in their bubble in the bubble of what were the typical clients, older, wealthy people. I mean, sure, some of them have their own personal security, but they might be out of their element. Like actual confrontation might not be
Mhm.
their go to. They've shielded themselves from having to ever do stuff like that. They typically have somebody that might handle that for them. So maybe that was the message that they were trying to get across, that these are the world's elite that are unable to fend for self kind of thing, but they want the rest of the world to fend for self. Maybe there was like that hidden message or subliminal message in it. But yeah, like I said earlier, they gave me a knife and fork. Somebody's going down with me. Like I'm
Mhm.
sorry, you ain't. I may be a POS that you invited to this island, and I've done other harms or disservices. That's why I was on that list to be there. But yeah, I'm not going out without a fight. Like even if it's against all odds, like they all got butcher knives. One of them is definitely going to have a bad day. I might have a worse day with the butcher knives that they have, but somebody's going to
Yes.
really feel that fork in their eye or that knife in their throat. Something that, yeah, poor Bill, he ain't making it. I didn't make it. Bill ain't make it. The rest of them might have a few cuts and bruises, but yeah, at least I took one down in the effort kind of deal because it would be better to go that way than become a s'more. Like I'm sorry, they
Well,
without spoiling the ending, it'll just yeah. I
I mean, come on,
the
let's just
marshmallow
carry
dust
the
on me and melted chocolate on my head. No, sorry. I'm a bald
no,
person,
no.
so I can't. I don't put chocolate on my head and set me on fire. Like no, that's I'm not going to sit still and let you do that. I'm just it's not going to happen.
So
So
so I know you spoiled the ending and stuff like that, but I don't really think that's really the ending. But here's the thing. The sight of actually viewing that
mhm.
is worth it even if you know it's going to happen.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was actually very visually stunning the way they
Mhm.
put that scene together.
Mhm.
I think it's worth it for everybody to watch the movie just for that.
Yeah.
But there were other things in there that were visually um stunning. I mean, the island was.
Yeah.
But there were also other things that visually to see them is to understand them better.
Yeah.
I mean, we only had really I mean, even when the the actual staff was hunting the guys, that wasn't even that action packed compared to Margot and the hostess, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That right there was worth seeing, those 2 women. It
It was like
was.
Jane Wick and Jane Wick 2.
Exactly. I mean, they did a really good job in that scene.
Yeah.
Just the inventive way that, because they're not martial artists. I mean, maybe the hostess was, but
Mhm.
um, Margot wasn't. She was a survivalist. We all
Mhm.
know survivalist. But the inventive ways that they were fighting and what they were using, that's visually stunning to see.
Mhm.
The whole last scene, the s'more scene, that was visually stunning to see.
Yeah.
Just them hunting the guys was visually stunning to see.
The
So
guy running off. You guys will
yeah,
have 4 and and one dude's already running. But yeah.
exactly. I mean, that was funny. I mean, to explain it and to see it, 2 different things. You
Mhm.
gotta see it. His facial expressions, everything. I think that's what makes me watch movies at over and over again. A specific
Mhm.
movie, it, the gestures is not the lines. I mean, yeah, some comedies are funny. I like
Yeah.
Free Guy. There's a lot of comedy in that. Um, but just to take those lines and read them is not the same as seeing how the person's acting while they're doing the line.
Mhm.
And that's what I like to see. And I think that's what this movie has. I mean, even when Tyler is sitting there being scolded, even when Tyler is being scolded about, you knew the plan and you came anyway.
Mhm.
His Nicholas Holt's facial expressions are the best. I mean, that's what makes him a good actor in this particular movie. I've seen him in
Mhm.
other stuff. I don't always like him, but in
Mhm.
this movie, I did like I hated his character, and that was what was meant to happen. Is he was not supposed to be liked. Even over the older and that we all know what he's doing or what he did
Mhm.
and why his daughter doesn't call him or even come to visit.
Yeah.
Um, he's supposed to be the worst character, but Tyler's the worst character because of the
Yeah.
way Nicholas Holt plays the character.
Mhm.
So I don't think giving away anything is going to prevent anybody from actually watching this. They really do have to watch it to really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But getting back to the original point, and I think that Poisoned Maniac said it best. Margot is the critical thinking in this. She's the only character that's critically thinking in this.
Mhm.
And I think that's the difference between all of the other characters and why Margot was let go. Is because she went to go find out what the answer was to the mystery.
Yeah. Find out what makes them tick.
And when she discovered what it is, she had him. She used the right language. Remember when we were at North Bay and I
Mhm.
walked in there and I was like, I was using the wrong language to get the seconds and the thirds for the kids,
Yeah.
but somebody came in with the right language.
Mhm.
That's what she discovered.
Yeah.
She used his language against him. She used his profession and his passion against him, and that's why she was let go and nobody else.
Yeah.
And that's what I think makes this movie a little better than everything else that's trying to do the same thing.
Yeah. It was I definitely like this movie. I mean, sure, there were some areas where I was like, dude, just stab the guy or fight back or something, but it's still overall the way things played out, I still enjoyed it. Just I don't know if I can look at a hoity-toity restaurant quite the same anymore. Are they going to be feeding me rocks, or you know, dipping sauces for bread with no bread, or are they going to have something like Tyler's bullshit? They better not serve me lamb, rack of lamb with like sprouts or something. Be like, send back Tyler's bullshit. Give me the real meal kind of thing. But yeah,
Yeah, we
it's
start seeing leaks and we're running out the restaurant.
like, this is not what I paid for. But but if we find a restaurant where everybody is almost like they're cult like or militarized to some extent as far as their in unison movement, yeah, I might have to dip out early. Like, yeah, just we're gonna both go to the bathroom and then just go to the car and find another restaurant, or see if we can
Fuzzy,
find that rowboat, type of
Fuzzy.
deal. What?
I think if you see s'mores as a dessert on the menu, I think you'll be out.
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah. I'm not. I mean, s'mores are okay at like a campfire, kind of like when we did go to like North Bay and
Mhm.
stuff. But it's like not for a restaurant with that kind of reputation. No, no. S'mores is not the dessert of choice for, for that type of place. That I'm expecting some sort of like lavish gold leaf in my chocolate fondue ice cream or something, just like ridiculously
Instead of
mixed, stuff into like a lavish dessert kind of thing.
instead of a chocolate hat and a marshmallow sweater?
Yeah, no, no. Mm-mm, mm-mm. They start bringing out a marshmallow sweater. I'm out. Somebody's catching a fade as I'm getting up out of there because you ain't setting me on fire. No, no, no. Not happening. Not happening.
Yeah, I can see you running too.
Yeah, yeah. No, they brought that marshmallow sweater out. I'm out. Mm-mm. You'd probably be like, "Oh, I'm just going to take a piece of the sweater with me, and just be chomping on it while we're leaving." No, don't even take a bite. That might slow you down. There might be something in that. No. Mm.
But at least they stayed away from that. At least they didn't put anything over anybody's mouth.
Yeah.
Be like, "Go to sleep. You'll be fine when you wake up."
Mhm.
So overall, what we rate this?
Hmm. It was pretty good. I give it a solid 7.5, maybe even an 8. I know that's probably a bit generous in comparison to some other movies, but like I said, don't really have complaints other than like the nitpicky stuff of like, yeah, they should have fought back more, but it ties in where it could be believable. Like I said, you call them the frat boys. I look at more of them as like the business, the capitalists that were on the corrupt side of things, doing the
Mhm.
embezzling and whatnot. It's like, yeah, and then to see their boss, drowned with his angel
Mhm.
wings and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, that um, yeah, I could see maybe they're not the ones that are equipped. I mean, they hopefully they have a gym membership, so they should have been a little bit more fit. But I
Mhm.
don't know. It just seems like that was the only drawback. But I'll give it a 7.5. It was solid and entertaining. Worth a rewatch possibly because, like you said, there are things you're going to want to see again. Some of the
Mhm.
quips back and forth between uh, you know, Tyler and Margot, or even
And the
the
chef.
chef himself. Yeah, or yeah, Elsa. I guess that was
Mhm.
the hostess. Some of the stuff when
Yeah.
she was talking to the business guys, it's like,
Oh,
no,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. She was
you
very
will,
firm on that
yeah,
no.
you will shut up and eat your food, and you won't like it. Basically, that's the way she treated him. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's an interesting watch. Not true horror, but thriller horror. Some suspense, um, and yeah, I enjoyed it. So I give it a 7.5.
Okay. So just to let y'all know, this had a $30 million budget. We all know that we had one, two, three, four, five well-known names in this.
Mm-hmm.
That we know offhand, maybe possibly six, because I'm not sure. Um, Elsa, the character Elsa Hong Chow, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was in The Whale, so I mean that was a pretty big movie. Um, but yeah, we had at least 5 to 6 big names in this. So I can see why. I mean, I even think that might be low as a budget.
Mm.
Opening weekend was 9 million. It grossed in US and Canada alone almost it's about 38.5 million. And then it grossed worldwide almost 80 million.
So it made
So I
its
mean
money
it
back
made it,
and then some.
yeah. Yeah. So it did over double. So some actually Will Ferrell was one of the producers of this.
Mm.
Did not know that.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. You just see these random names. Sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't know he did that. Um, but yeah, it got 2 wins, 66 nominations. Not bad for this type of film.
Yeah.
I mean, it is marked as a comedy, horror, thriller. I don't really see the comedy in this.
I mean, I kind of see the comedy, but it wasn't overbearing. Like it was more sarcastic and subtle, I would say.
Yeah, and I don't see that as comedy. I just see that as good dialogue in
Mm.
a horror movie. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a
Mhm.
big difference between a comedy horror and a horror movie that has some good back and forth dialogue.
Yeah.
Realistic dialogue, something that is, you know, flows as far as a give and take
Mhm.
rather than having choppy dialogue or excessive wording and stuff like that. Because sometimes some of the dialogue, even in the best films, are very clunky. I wouldn't even call it a black I wouldn't even call it black comedy. I think
And
this is a little
it's
bit
more
more.
like dark tones. I mean, it
Yeah, it's dark tones, but I wouldn't say humor in this because I really I mean I chuckle a good bit on
Mhm.
certain movies and stuff like that. Even when they're not supposed to be labeled as comedies or whatever, or it's a dark comedy, I will get the dark comedy of it. I just didn't see it in here.
Mm.
I really didn't. Because there were so many heavy tones on between the chef and Margot that was more the thriller part to it, and I think that overshadowed what they, I guess, were considering to be comedy.
Yeah, for me, the comedy was Elsa the host and the three tech bros or whatever. That was definitely comedy on that. And then not that alcoholism by any means is
Mhm,
comedy, but
mhm.
mom is drinking herself almost to the point of passing out, and even when they have everybody outside, she's like, "Nope, I'm grabbing the bottle." Like, yeah, that they threw some light hint stuff, like not stuff that's going to have you rolling out your chair, but you're going to smirk, you're going to smile or chuckle at a few of those things.
Yeah,
I know I did for some of that stuff. So, hmm,
yeah, I see that as comic relief more
hmm,
so than comedy,
hmm.
you know? Maybe I've watched too many dark comedies or horror comedies.
Yeah,
So, um, but yeah, I would rate it as an 8. Like I said, I understand why he let her go. I understand the back and forth on what happened and how she used, you know, his passion and what he was saying to her and all of his backgrounds against him
Hmm.
and put him into a little corner that he really couldn't get out of. But I while I like the ending and I like the s'mores thing, I didn't necessarily visually how they succumbed, succumb, or whatever you want to say,
Hmm.
to it. I didn't really see in their facial expressions that they were truly submissive at that point.
Yeah.
I didn't really see the defeat and stuff. No, I agree. They did label it as a black comedy. They did label it as a comedy. I totally agree with that. I just
Hmm.
didn't see it actually in the movie.
Hmm.
I just didn't
Yeah.
see it. No, they
I,
labeled it that.
I saw it. We'll just leave it at that. Maybe it's my well. I can be a sarcastic bastard at times, so I know. I saw it that way, but
Yeah, we
yeah.
won't get into that.
No, but
Telling on yourself.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're lucky Presto's not here.
Yeah. So that, and I'm glad you didn't record me ranting about having to walk back from one of the sets. We're not going to repeat that. We're just going to leave that for another time, maybe after the movie launches, kind of thing. But yeah, that will be in the deleted scenes or director's cut or something. But yeah, no, this I think this was a good movie. Fun watch, uh, worth a rewatch, and maybe you'll keep this in the back of your mind when you go out to dinner, and and hopefully you don't have a extremely artsy fartsy kind of chef, because it might spark a flashback or some certain feelings from that might have occurred during the movie kind of thing. So we'll see.
So, what are we doing next?
uh, well, we can talk about outros, but other than that, I don't know what we're going to do as far as the next movie, and we're having an episode
No,
next
no, we have a
Friday.
plan for that.
Okay,
We have a plan for that.
okay.
That's already planned out.
You might
You were
want to
sleeping.
tell me what that plan is. Oh, I was sleeping.
Yeah, you were sleeping. I was talking to Presto and you were sleeping.
Okay.
Not, he was mentally sleeping by doing his video games rather than
Oh, that's
paying
sleeping.
attention.
I would call that more of a um, enjoyable distraction. You know,
Uh-huh.
like,
Uh-huh.
like playing my hobby. That-
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Whenever you're enjoyably distracted, um, you get mad at me because you think I'm trying to distract you from your video games.
mhm, mhm.
Uh-huh.
We're not going there either. We're gonna leave that alone.
So yeah, we are going to so Presto is putting together because he's going to direct the next one. He's putting together either comparing a couple of screams or
Hmm.
doing one of the screams.
Okay.
So I just have to figure out. I just have to contact him to see which one. But yeah, he's doing it. As far as we know, it's next week because
Okay.
I am done with school, kind of.
Yay.
But
Kind of.
well, I still have to have the meeting with my principal to see if I can use my classroom and also talk about some other stuff in reference to, trying to get the nail tech program together and stuff. But other
Hmm.
than that, so he said we can Zoom. I don't have to go to the school or anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just I gotta actually, get him because every time I try and meet with him, all of a sudden he has to go to the district or he has an emergency or whatever. I think he's avoiding me.
Maybe.
I think he's
Um,
avoiding me.
Comes that science teacher again. What now? We don't have any money for supplies. Stop asking.
But I
Have
don't
them
want
use
supplies.
matchsticks and popsicle sticks or something like paper. They
I
can bring
already
their own paper.
have them. I already have that stuff.
They're already getting budget cuts. They're gonna be lucky to have chairs next year. Be like standing room only. Wait, what?
No, I just want to use my classroom. I
Hmm.
want nothing.
Yeah, they might
I just
start
want to bring
charging you for the
a
use of the classroom. Be like, oh, you want to film a movie here? That'll be $10,000. That way we can get
classroom. It
supplies.
better not be. Better not
Yeah.
be.
This is our rate, and this will pay for a new student lounge, or not student lounge, teacher lounge. No,
Oh no.
administration lounge, because that's
Oh
what they
no,
really
no.
want.
Oh no, it won't. Uh-uh. Them cost 100,000.
But you better keep that quiet, because that would be what the bill is for the film. Like normally we would charge 10,000, but we really need 100,000. So just just cash, credit, check, whatever. No installment payments. No, we're not doing this layaways business. So yeah, no.
No PayPal?
No.
No
Well,
Affirm?
they'll take PayPal. They just won't take pay as you go or pay
They will
weekly.
take pay as you go.
Mm.
Oh, come on, you can take it out of my check.
No, you don't want them to say that because you'll have like a negative check. You'll be up there owing them for like 10 years. Mm-mm, mm-mm. They'll
Yeah, I'm only
figure out
working
some
because
interest that
I
you
owe
are always in debt to them.
'em. Yeah, I
Like,
just
oh, you
work
didn't show up for Tuesday. That's another $700 you owe us. Wait, what? I didn't show up for one day. How are you going to charge me?
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. Yeah, so we're gonna do I don't know what Scream it's gonna be or if it's gonna be 2 Screams or whatever, but it's gonna be Scream. But we have plenty of time,
Yeah.
right? You're retired.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kinda on summer break.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we do have so to let everybody know, there's gonna actually be 2 events for Swine and Dine. If you are in the, uh, area of the Everett Theater, they have a Return of the Living Dead, viewing at 10 o'clock on July 3rd, and from what I understand, Swine and Dine, the short, I was one of the assistant producers or whatever, associate I can't remember. Look it up on IMDb. Fiona C. Johnson. Um, so Swine and Dine is going to be, I guess, a preview or to the movie or something like that, or after the movie or whatever. But that's July 3rd at the Everett Theater, um, at 10 p.m. Okay, tickets are on sale at the Everett Theater. Now, besides that, Swine and Dine is also going to be July 27th. It's a Sunday. 3 until I believe 6. They're not only going to be doing Swine and Dine, but there's going to be some other films that are being viewed, meet and greet with the director and some of the cast members, as well. So we'll be there. That one is at the Smod Castle Theater, Kevin Smith's theater.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that's going to be. So if you want to go to that one, if you're in Jersey, I think the Everett Theater is in Delaware. Let me just check. Yes, baby. Yes, that's in Middletown, Delaware. Is the Everett Theater, where the Return of the Living Dead is going to be playing. And as you know, Return of the Living Dead 2, not 2, but the Trash's Revenge, uh, which is going to be the same cast that was in the Return of the Living Dead 1 and 2. Well, 1 is going to be, um, that one's filming right now. I believe they are no longer in Los Angeles. I think they're going on to their next location, which is New York or London, one of the two. So, uh, that one again is going to be playing at the Everett Theater. So I would say go and see that one if you have never seen it in the theater. I remember that I never got a chance to see it in the theater. Um, I just got to watch it on video when it had come out. So it is a different experience because I know we saw Dawn of the Dead in the theater, and that was definitely a different experience than seeing it on video. Uh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll notice things, bigger screens. So, of course, there's going to be more detail, but at the same time, the surround sounds definitely adds a little bit extra that the DVD doesn't. So, I would check it out. But yeah, and then we have on August 9th in Pittsburgh. If anybody's out in Pittsburgh, they still have tickets at the Lamp Theater, LAMP Theater, for Grind. So they're, I think, 25 plus a little service fee. They're under 30 each. So that's really not that bad. And the cast will be there, the director's going to be there and everything, and that's
Is
August 9th.
uh is Ginger Lynn going to be there?
I don't know. I
That
don't
that
know.
might that might bring the boys to the yard kind of thing. So
Yeah. I'll find
I.
out if Gingerlin's going to be there. Um, Lynn Lowry, she was also in it.
Mhm.
So she might be there. Felissa Rose might actually show up. I can check to see if she is going to be there as well.
Mhm.
If people might want to come out and see her. But yeah, we'll see. I know definitely Mark Hayes, who was in Swine and Dine. I know he's going to be at one of them,
Mhm.
either at the Everett Theater because they're close to Delaware. Or he might also show up in Jersey at the Smod Castle Theater for the event as well. So I know he's getting popular as well. In case anybody wants to meet him, he's really really nice, really really nice. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of quiet sometimes.
Mhm.
So yeah. Um, but so what are you gonna be doing besides video games, Mr. Fuzzy?
That's pretty much all I'm going to be doing. Uh, if anybody has bought the expansion for the Division 2, I'll probably be playing that. Where it's the Battle for Brooklyn. Um, Already got two characters, or two out of four already doing the Brooklyn DLC. Um, Still playing a good bit of Forza Horizon 5. I know I need to see about getting a couple more cars. Buzz, who may not be in the chat today, but as normally in like my gaming podcast chat, I'll probably have to get with him on a couple of cars I'm missing still. Um, there's like 901 cars, and I think I have 829 unique cars without buying the DLC cars yet. And I'm missing like maybe one or two that are non DLC cars. But other than that, I'm trying to figure out how much I can enjoy my Switch right now, Mario Kart World, which I wish they made it easier for friend codes because it's like a social security number pretty much. But I'll make a posting about that if anybody wants to play Mario Kart. Although I got to change the controls around so it plays more like Forza Horizon, but having fun with that. And then I guess I'll be doing bowling on my Quest 3. And, that's pretty much it. You can just, if you're gaming anywhere, you'll probably see Fuzzy Belvedere online somewhere gaming. Just put it that way.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think I created some space downstairs for you for your bowling.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, trying to clean up a little bit before next school year, trying to throw some stuff out and donate some stuff as we normally do during this time, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I will definitely find out if Ginger Lynn is going to show up. Just remember, guys, she is very huggy. She likes giving hugs. Just prepare yourself for that if you decide to go to the grind premiere. But I'll find out if she's going to be there or if Felicia's going to be there or um anybody else. Okay.
All right. So that's,
So,
I guess that's our outros. Have to thank Poison
well,
Maniac for putting our links in the chat. Greatly
yes.
appreciate you, dude. Greatly appreciate it. And we'll be here next week talking about Scream. We're comparing some Scream movies. Presso will be here as well. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So rewatch some Scream movies if you haven't watched them in a while, and be prepared to join the conversation as well.
Mhm. Somebody likes hugs.
Hey, if you're going to be in the Pittsburgh area, would you say August 9th?
August 9th is when it's going to be.
Yeah, if you're in the Pittsburgh area, definitely come through Lamp Theater to watch the movie Grind. It'll be a worthwhile experience. So, yeah.
Yeah, and if Ginger Lynn's not there, you can get a hug from Fuzzy.
Wait, what? I don't think they're going to want a hug from me, but yeah, yeah, hey, I can do hugs, but I'm pretty sure there'll be other cast members that will probably be better for hugs and stuff like that. But hey, we'll see. But greatly appreciate everybody
Look out
joining
for
us
the
tonight.
hug.
Hey, I'm not going to turn a hug away. But yeah. Anyway, glad everybody could join us. Greatly appreciate it. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're not already. We greatly appreciate the support. Thanks again, and have an awesome weekend. And see you guys next Friday.
Bye.
Bye.